I had the privilege of serving in 3 armies between 1962 and 1982, a post-World War II Atomic Age Army, a Vietnam War Army, and a post-Vietnam Army. During that same span, the United States Army was a draft army for the first half of my years and a volunteer army for the second half. Change was the only constant. The natural tendency for an organization to evolve and improve was sent into a tailspin by the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Berlin Wall, and the Vietnam War. The Army's responses to these major world events took place during my first 10 years in uniform. My last 10 were monopolized by the Army's efforts to eliminate the draft, forget about Vietnam, adjust to the drawdown in manpower, deal with the impact of drug, racial, and disciplinary problems, and the reoriented general mission to defend Europe against a mechanized armored force in a nuclear environment. During 2 decades of service, I never served in a unit or at a post or service school that was not in the process of being organized, reorganized, or disbanded. I never served in a unit whose mission was the same when I left it as it was when I arrived. And I never served in a unit where my immediate superior or subordinate was the same when I left as when I arrived. Alice's Wonderland was sane, tame, and boring by comparison. I was just 18 and only 4 days into basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, when my platoon was called out of our aging World War II barracks for the 3rd formation of the morning. A cadreman, a young acting corporal, formed up the platoon with an uncharacteristic smirk on his face. Once he was satisfied that we were all there, had handed out a moderate number of push-ups for various infractions that we didn't really understand, and once he had our attention, he told us that we were going to a briefing. He made sure that we understood it was a briefing we were not ready for, and one that the Army was wasting time and money on. He told us we were worthless, and that it was highly unlikely that we could hack it. In his opinion, formed in the 6 months he had been in the Army would be better off sending us to the regimental headquarters to police the area. We were joined by the other platoons, double-timed to a small battalion theater, and hustled into seats. My platoon was lucky to get seats in the front rows. None among us knew the subject of the briefing, and the late June heat was almost unbearable in the tiny theater as we sat there waiting. We waited for the longest time, reminded to sit still and be happy that we weren't out in the sun. In only a few minutes we were getting sleepy, and the fight to stay awake was on. Getting caught dozing off would be worth an easy 20 push-ups. Finally, from the back of the room, someone yelled, "On your feet!" And we jumped up, having learned the multiple push-up penalties for anything less than an instant response. We couldn't see them, but 2 sets of boots clumped down the aisle, approaching the chin-high stage.